3 game weeks in, and it's already shaping up to be the tensest season in FPL history. The one with the toughest questions around team selection and no easy answers. You watch Haaland smashing another hat-trick and you think you have to rip up the squad to get him in. You see Salah go point for point, round for round, and you think you can sacrifice Haaland for a stronger squad elsewhere. You see Saka smash it in game week 1, Palmer, Son and De Bruyne haul in game week 2. They all go quiet in game week 3, and next week Phil Foden's back. You write Isak off and think Havertz is a hero. Then you see Isak score 1, nearly score the greatest lob of all time, and see he has Wolves, Fulham and Everton in his next 4, while it's Spurs and Man City away for King Kai. Madueke and Jota produce the points, but then they're blank, while Mbuemo, Eze and Diaz do the business. Big at the back is working out beautifully, only for every team bar Manchester United to wipe out their opponent's clean sheet. We thought we'd have the information we need by now, but just when we think we have the answers, the FPL gods change the questions. Only one thing is for sure, this is going to be a season of pain and pleasure, of agony and ecstasy, of joy and heartbreak, and all those emotions will be felt within the same game week. It's a season where you feel you could wildcard every week and somehow still need a free hit. We are seeing the repercussions reverberate right through the League of Gentlemen, from the bottom all the way to the top. Terminator Triss, with a top 30k and a top 10k finish in his history, has a defence featuring Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa and Spurs. He's got an attack comprising Son, Jota, De Bruyne, Maddison, Arsenal, Manchester United and the effervescent Vardy, all augmented by 2 of Crystal Palace's finest, and yet he finds himself rock bottom of the world's greatest mini-league. He's already been overtaken by a manager who missed a game week 1 deadline and started his season in game week 2. We see Lionheart Lamb and Steve the Artist Ruddock, veteran champions of inferior fantasy games, and yet they can't even break out of the bottom quarter. League of Gentlemen veterans such as the Ox, Deadly Daz and Mighty Mouse, who has an incredible 9 top 100k finishes. They all captain Haaland, yet they can't break out of the bottom half. 3 of the last 4 League of Gentlemen champions languish outside the top 15. This week alone we've seen 6 managers take hits and 4 more lay the wild cards on the table. These are turbulent times in FPL, and the stormy seas are going to shipwreck some of the greatest to ever play the game. Several big names fell victim to the murky depths of the sinking feeling in game week 3. Slick Rick fell 9 places from 17th to 26th after his triple Spurs squadron fell victim to the greatest striker in all of world football. Mighty Mouse sank 5 places to 22nd. The Rough Rider dropped 8 places to 19th. Sirloin Sean and the Dragon descended from 6th and 10th respectively to joint 17. The most notable decline this week though was that of Jock and Jeeves. All week he's been in my ear like he's been possessed by the Grinch himself.
Oh, you always say I'm a 2-time champ, but I've actually won it 4 times. Just because nobody else played the game at the time doesn't make it not so. Oh, while I'm at it, your backgrounds are boring.
While something can always be done about the backgrounds. With regard to his other point, I cannot say. King Ding's first season was 2013-14 and I joined the game the following season, so neither of us can confirm these claims. Nor, indeed, who was even a member of the League of Gentlemen. However, Jez Messing's journalistic integrity has never been in question, and he has investigated the rap Rob Roy's claims that the 2011-12 and 2012-13 seasons should be valid title wins for him, officially recognised in the archive. Messing's deep dive into the facts finds the majority of gentlemen were not active during the years the Townhead Gunner is claiming for. However, in 2011-12, Jock and Jeeves finished just outside the top 850k. 10 current gentlemen were active at this time. Of those 10, Professor Story and Ashton Bash were both beaten by Jeeves and were verifiably not gentlemen at the time. This can be verified in the official FPL Nightmare book series, which you can read about at the links below or at the QR code at the end. 3 other competitors, Big Steve, the Master Chef, and Flash Funk, were all plausible gents from that era. However, they too failed to outscore Jock and Jeeves. 4 men verifiably outscored Jeeves in those years: John Go-Karting, Terminator Triss, Red Hot Rob and Mighty Mouse. The latter 2 who were in the middle of an obscene run of top 100k finishes. However, none of those were gentlemen at the time, and if you say that doesn't matter, I'm telling you, you're wrong. It absolutely does, because the pressure of the world's greatest mini-league is unlike no other. So who knows if they would have actually beaten Jock and Jeeves in a title shootout. It's a similar story in 2012-13, with the list of non-gents who defeated Jock and Jeeves extending to 6, with Ashler Bash and Private Parvesh also defeating our Rebel champion. Like the previous year, the verifiable non-gent Professor Story was defeated by Jeeves, as was Gav the Master Chef Bridges, while Flash Funk crumbled under the unique pressure of the world's greatest mini-league and took a break from the game. However, in 2011-12, Metal Mark Farquhar, another gentleman active in the Cumbrian music scene at the time, verifiably finished ahead of Jock and Jeeves. He could very well have been in the League of Gentlemen, and he finished 18,083 places ahead of the Grand Disputer. Furthermore, the following season, Metal Mark defeated Jeeves by 500,000 places, leaving Jeeves languishing outside the top 1.4 million. So the question becomes, was Metal Mark in the League of Gentlemen in those seasons? Both men being heavy hitters in the Cumbrian rock revolution is circumstantial evidence that suggests he would have been. However, Metal Mark was under the tutelage of the infamous Raz White, Jeeves' arch nemesis both musically and promotionally, with the fallout stemming to a cancelled charity gig by one of White's bands. So, if we accept the plausible argument that his dalliances with Razzmatazz left him banned from the division, it is certainly possible that Jeeves' 2012 ranking was enough to beat a bunch of rank amateurs who no longer play the game. And as such, an argument could be made he does deserve to be credited as a champion in that season, if Metal Mark is excluded. And like we said, the following season, Metal Mark finished 500,000 places ahead of Jeeves. So if we accept him as a gentleman at that time, then there are no titles for Jock and Jeeves. However, even if we accept the very fair assumption that Metal Mark was whitelisted from the division, confirming Jeeves as the 2012-13 champ is a much harder stake to claim. You see, Jeeves' band, The Revolution, used to rehearse in a tavern known as the White Horse, owned by football manager maestro Neil Stinger Davidson, an establishment frequented by both Big Steve the Butcher and Maverick Mikey P. In that season, Jeeves finished outside the top 1.4 million. The Butcher ranked 1.2 million. Maverick Mikey, he ranked 1.09 million. They both shot down the Townhead gunner. Yet, perhaps Jeeves, in his desperate desire to be seen on the same level as King Ding, would deny even them. And if so, that's fine. We can let him have that one. There's one man he can't deny, however. One man who was inextricably linked to the rap Rob Roy during those years. The McGuigan to his Gallagher. The Lemmy to his Fast Eddie. The McCartney to his Lennon.
Oh my.
The man who was in not one, but 2 of Jock and Jeeves' bands. And who was in clan banter since its formation, sharing those Waverley days and Waverley nights. In 2012-13, when Jock and Jeeves languished outside the top 1.4 million, ranked 500,000 places ahead of him was none other than the Ox! And Jeeves may try and argue that the Ox did not beat him, but Jez Messing's evidence produces a compelling case. None more so than this photo of the Ox with the League of Gentlemen trophy. The trophy that is now in the permanent possession of the four-time champ King Dean. So, it appears Jeeves is correct that a great injustice has been done in the archives. But it's not him farting around in a league with Double Decks Dave and Phil the Full Beaumonty. It's the omission of the Ox from the champions role from the year before the official records began. Congratulations to the Ox. And thank you to Jeeves for bringing this matter to our attention and investigating the true history of the League of Gentlemen. Jeeves, it's because of you that Ox will forever be recognised as a rightful champion. As for Jeeves' claimed title of 2011-12, we'll leave you, the audience, to consider Jez Messing's report and make your own mind up. All we can do, based on the evidence uncovered by the Weekly Bullshitter's #1 investigative journalist, is to take Jeeves' 2 verified titles and place an asterisk next to them. It's the only fair thing to do. Perhaps Jeeves should forget about trying to rewrite history and instead focus on what is going down right now, because he fell 5 places to 9th this week as the mistake of overlooking Haaland really hit home. What's remarkable is that 2 seasons ago, Jock and Jeeves eschewed the Norse force in preference of stuffing his team with high value midfielders. After that error decimated his rank, he swore never to make the same mistake again. But yet here we are, 2 years later, and it's all just a little case of history repeating. What Jeeves demonstrates here is the true value of Haaland. While owners were never in any doubt as to whether to captain a £15 million player, people who owned Salah were considering diverting to Parma. Many did, and it's cost them. This is what that extra 2.5 million buys you. Peace of mind. Salah can keep pace with Haaland for points, but it's an awful lot easier to switch the captaincy off him, costing yourself big points in the process. Given the upcoming fixtures for the Norse force, you feel not owning him is a mistake that has to be corrected soon by the 2-time asterisk champ. So great is the threat of both Haaland and Mighty Mo that we have to expect a spate of wildcards for game week 4. The wider FPL community is abuzz with talk of activating the chip and restructuring the squad, and wildcard advice is always good for the views, so here's mine: do not activate that chip. Let's get real, it's game week 4.
Oh, but fixture swings. Oh, but now I know exactly who I want in my team.
Give it a rest. There are 17 game weeks until you get your second wildcard. An awful lot can happen in 17 game weeks. The Champions League hasn't started. The festive frenzy is still to come. Players that seem unmissable today may seem unpickable in 3 game weeks' time. Injuries and suspensions can hit. Form and selection can swing. You only have 3 game weeks of data, highly influenced by preferential fixtures. It doesn't matter how good it looks on paper, not when you consider how good no Haaland drafts looked on paper just 3 game weeks ago. Activating your wildcard now is a mistake.
Oh, but I've already activated it.
Well, I hope that extra team value is worth it. It won't help you when you have to take 4-point hits every game week because things have swung again. But if you have activated, the only advice worth listening to is to ensure you have both Haaland and Salah. The rest is up to you, but those 2 players are the only ones who might minimise the damage you've done to yourself. Don't be telling yourself you'll work Haaland back in further down the line. He's over £6 million more expensive than the next highest value striker. Going without Haaland is a 3 or 4 transfer mistake. Do not make it. Or if you think you're both clever and lucky enough to manage without Haaland, then don't have him in your team. Please do make that mistake. Please, everyone activate your wildcards and get rid of Haaland. leave him for me. I want to win this blasted game, and the more people that abandon the best asset in the game, the easier that will be. Just know you will not be fighting for glory. You'll be languishing in irrelevance with Grinchy Vot, who has become the biggest victim of his own wicked whispers, bantering himself into a terrible squad and talking his way into taking a hit which has cost him 13 points. The division's poison persuader has turned into its cautionary tale, and now he spends the international break sequestered in Mount Crumpet, almost certain to wildcard his way into more trouble. The Grinch needs to turn things around soon, because he's at risk of missing out on the most exciting title race in years. He's pleaded for the big guns to take it seriously, and now they're leaving him in the dust. Ilo Hodgson continues his rise through the ranks with another sterling performance, but he shares 5th place with the 4-time verified champ, King Ding, who smashed home the division's 2nd highest game week score to rise 6 places. They both closed the gap on the 4th place Ginger Ben, who still managed to rise in the table due to Jockey Jeeves' fall. And what's especially pleasing for the Macca Messiah is that he is still yet to make a transfer, which puts him in prime position to push on even further. He's now 4 points behind my team, which drops to 3rd place despite another strong showing, largely as a result of my mistake in signing Muniz in game week 2 rather than Joao Pedro, a mistake I have already corrected after moving early in the transfer market. You can't get every decision right, but that one has cost me 2 transfers and 13 points. The 13 points I am behind 2nd place. So yes, I've moved early in the market to secure the Samba sensation, because sometimes mistakes need to be fixed before they spiral out of control. There were no such transfer mishaps from John Go-Karting, who rises to 2nd place largely as a result of trading Jacob Murphy to Luis Diaz. That gave him a huge immediate gain, and with both Haaland and Salah in his squad, he will prove very difficult to overcome. However, as always, my focus is on the gap between myself and 1st place, and that's a gap that shrunk by 4 points after a disastrous wildcard by Gladiator Glen. Last week I said I did not fear his threat, and he's done little to prove me wrong, throwing away his biggest weapon to secure the lowest score in the division's top 8, and bizarrely selling both Mighty Mo and the Norse Force in the process. Look, I can see the logic in the Haaland approach initially. Bring him in, triple captain him in game week 2 for that plum Ipswich tie, then redistribute the funds with an early wildcard. It's sound logic in general. However, to go without both Haaland and Salah after the opening pair of game weeks is just silly. £15 million is a lot of money, but Haaland is always unstoppable in the opening 10 game weeks of the season, and even after that he will consistently get you a goal. With the bonus point alterations this season, 1 goal for Haaland will likely be enough for 3 bonus points, meaning he's essentially getting you a goal and an assist. Plus, you can back Haaland as captain against anyone, which can't be said for most options, including Mighty Mo. People bang on about Haaland's price all the time, but I think the peace of mind he offers you is worth sacrificing a Foden for an Eze. And look, Son, Saka and Palmer, they're good picks. Yet Son faced Newcastle last week and now has Arsenal next. Saka has Spurs and Man City in his next 2 games. And Palmer is great, but you simply cannot put all your eggs in that basket case of a club he plays for. Umblemo did great for Glen this week, but now he plays Man City. Watkins is out of form, somewhat unfit, and the Champions League is about to start. Isak punished that Watkins mistake immediately, and now he plays Wolves, a team so bad they convinced the casuals Madueke was a must-have. What the Gladiator has done is wildcard in a game week 6 draft 3 game weeks early, and now he's left himself with no way to get to the best 2 assets in the game without making multiple transfers. It is a terrible, terrible strategy, and I will go on the record now as saying it is this moment that has ended his title chances. The only way the Gladiator can go is down. And all you FPL managers considering a game week 4 wildcard, just look at that squad and realise how badly you're about to mess it up. That's how easy it is to throw it all away. There's a big difference between bravado and balls in FPL, and the Gladiators kindly demonstrate to us all the folly of being over-aggressive. Ahead of game week 4, I urge you all to take a pause, to allow cooler heads to prevail, and to return to the game stronger than you left it. It's a matter of time before the Gladiator falls at his sword, but you still have a chance. So with all that in mind, let me just say, may all your transfers be successful, may all your arrows be green, and may the FPL gods be in your favour. Press down on that subscribe button to keep the Grinch in his place, and we will see you next time.
It's an FPL nightmare, got me pulling out more, yeah. I'm the greatest football manager to ever grace the old armchair, but the FPL gods hate me, and no one seems to care that my points are only average, and my ranking is not fair.